Hello, my name is Nicholas Cardet, and welcome to Back to School Night. This is a sixth and eighth grade English classroom, so let's find out a little bit more about it. A little bit about my professional background. So, I've worked at Clifton for 4 years and spent all 4 years as an iCoach, which is a light tech coach on campus. So, I help students and teachers with their technology needs, which has come in really handy during this time away from the classroom. I also have spent 7 years as a director for Tom Sawyer camps up in the Altadena area, and I got my English credential from Cal Poly Pomona as well as my bachelor degree from Cal Poly Pomona. A little bit about our curriculum. We'll be focusing on three things during this school year. The HMH Collections textbook. That is a hardcover textbook that should have gone home. If you haven't received it yet, please email me and let me know, as well as an online textbook that I'll be showing students how to access. From there, we'll be using something called ERWC, which is an expository reading and writing course. Now, I know that expository reading means says that we only work in one genre, but actually this program touches on the three major genres that the SBAC tests, which is expository, argumentative, and narrative. So we will have small mini units from this actual writing course placed into our school year curriculum. And finally, classroom novels, okay? We will be reading books such as Esperanza Rising and The Martian, the classroom edition by Andy Weir, because reading is so important to these students. A little bit about the class structure. On our synchronous days or Zoom classes, it'll be a lot of student discussions, a lot of lesson review, a lot of class presentations, and assessments, okay? So it's things that we couldn't do otherwise, basically, trying to use that time as best as we can to get kids connected. On our asynchronous days or days away from the classroom, students will be doing ed puzzles, guided notes, portfolio reflections, and working in Flipgrid and GoSynth. Edpuzzle is a program that allows me to record lessons and push them out to students. That is going to be a big part of our classroom, especially during distance learning. It allows us to kind of flip the classroom, so to speak, so that I can go ahead and get what might have been a lecture out to them on their time as homework instead of me using our precious synchronous time towards that. Students will be asked to complete guided notes or short kind of assignments that connect to each lesson. Students will also be creating a portfolio website in this class and creating reflections and uploading assignments that they're proud of and that they think best represent their growth as a student. Finally, we will be using things like Flipgrid, which allows students to record themselves to make short presentations, as well as GoSynth, which allows our students to make podcasts. A little bit about the grading structure in this classroom. We are looking at basically three big categories. Their writing standards, their reading standards, and their speaking standards. And from there, we're breaking it down into two parts for each. So there's kind of like a writing formative portion of their grade and a writing summative. And that is kind of how this is all going to work. What is formative versus summative? So formative assessments or formative assignments, the goal of a formative assessment is to monitor student learning and students to improve their learning. Essentially practice, right? So it's the things that they do in class to practice a skill. A summative assignment is basically how we assess how much they've actually learned, the final assessment, so to speak. The goal of a summative assessment is to evaluate student learning at the end of an instructional unit by comparing it against some standard or benchmark. So we use our California Common Core standards as a way to go ahead and see if students have gone ahead and mastered a particular skill. So this class will be a lot of them practicing skills and working towards things and then showing how much of that skill they've mastered. So as you can see on this form, our formative assessments, okay, are all worth a lower percentage. So formative writing is worth 15%, formative reading is worth 15%, and formative speaking is worth 10%. But you guys can see that that actually equals 40% of their total grade. So practice is worth 40%. Their summative portion, you'll notice, is worth a larger percentage. So that them seeing how much they've mastered. So each one's writing summative is 25, reading summative is 25, and speaking summative is 10. So examples of a reading summative might be an independent reading presentation or a reading comprehension test. A writing summative is that final essay, right? Collaborative essays that they might work on, those kinds of things. On to our schedule. What are our weeks going to look like, and what can your students expect? So on Mondays, it is a completely asynchronous lesson day, meaning that they will be completing assignments on their own or doing lessons or their ed puzzles. Most assignments will be due on these Mondays, just so you know. And I am available for questions through email and Zoom calls if need be. Your students will also have 2 live lessons a week. They will be through Zoom and Google Meet in the event of an emergency or if Zoom goes down for whatever reason. They'll have the opportunity to interact with me and their peers, and we might do some asynchronous lesson review. So there might be a part at the beginning kind of going over what they should have done in their lessons. Finally, we have our remediation and tutoring days. So certain students may be asked or requested to join me from 1 to 2 o'clock for extra help. The technology you guys can kind of expect your students to be using in class. So for discussions and communication, we're going to be using things like obviously Zoom, Google Meet, Gmail, Parent Square, and Remind. Okay. When it comes to classwork and homework, we're using Google Classroom, Google Slides, Google Docs, and Edpuzzle. And then when we're talking about students giving their kind of presentation, so to speak, in this new distance learning world, we're looking at Flipgrid, GoSynth, and possibly Zoom. If you need anything, this is my contact information. So my email is ncardet@monroviaschools.net. I went ahead and sent an email invitation to using Remind for all parents. Please check your email for that invite information. If you haven't received it, you can go ahead and email me. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at Mr_Knickknack, posting things about students and updates on school. I hope that you guys have a fabulous night, and I hope to meet you in person soon. Bye.